Like I said, this is your teacher of the year.
Good evening. We're going to call the Novi Board of Education regular meeting to order. Tonight is March 19th, and I am going to turn it over to Mr. Meinke to welcome our student guests to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Meinke.
Thank you so much. I had a conversation with Mrs. Fenchel earlier, and I'm excited to announce that we have 8 Novi Meadows 5th graders here tonight to lead us in the pledge. I would love it, Ms. Fenchel, if it's okay, if they could come up and introduce themselves. I think there's a microphone up here at the podium. They might have to turn it on, but if they can't speak in the regular one.
Mm-hmm.
So these are 5th graders from Novi Meadows, and I will let them share their names with you.
Hi, my name is Ava.
My name is Lily.
My name is Dina.
My name is Sammy.
And my name is Flynn.
Okay, if we can please rise so that they can come up front and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
You guys go up there and turn around and face the audience, okay? Sammy, remember you're starting.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Mrs. Fenchel, hold on just a second. Oh, no. Our student.
You're
rep
fine.
You want them back?
Nope, she's got it. She chased him out. I just didn't want you guys to run out.
If I can get a approval of tonight's agenda? Mr. Mishner?
Move to approve tonight's agenda.
Support.
Recommended by Mr. Mishner and supported by Mr. Mena. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. We will move on to our Student Board Representative Report, and I would like to welcome Annika.
Thank you. So our middle school student council and high school student councils came together today for the final day of Rise and Shine, and they took part in leadership activities to learn more about their own individual leadership styles. Each school has 2 to 3 representatives from their student councils take part in monthly meetings to bridge connections between schools in our KLA district. And with this being one of the last years in the KLA, we celebrated with an Olympic-style conference where we played leadership games. And this took place on March 6th, and it was a great way to close out as we take on that transfer to the OAA. So that was really cool. And as far as clubs, the final Forensics Invitational before states is at Walled Lake this Saturday, and our mock trial also has their states competition at Lansing on Saturday. Our Michigan Youth in Government is heading to their conference next week, Thursday through Sunday, and 5 of Novi's delegates will be serving as statewide presiding officers, so I want to wish them good luck as they represent Novi. Novi DECA also collected over 50 medals at DECA States, and they had 34 students qualify for ICDC, which is DECA Nationals, so they will be moving on to Nationals, and I wanted to congratulate them and wish them good luck. And then as far as sports, our Novi varsity lacrosse has their first games today with our girls playing Oxford and our boys playing Troy. So good luck to them. And Novi girls varsity soccer had their first game yesterday against Walled Lake Western, and they won by 8-0, so that was super, super cool to see. And track has their first meet next week. Our performing arts, our high school musical is the weekend of April 17th, but tickets are now on sale, and the musical is Legally Blonde, so I will be attending, and so should all of you. It'll be really, really fun to watch. And then Awkward Pause took place within our ELA classes, and they always do such a great job. They gear different shows towards like each of the grades, so it's kind of really cool as a senior to see how those shows have progressed and how like what we go through at each grade really changes. So yeah, they always do such a great job. And for open to the public, they can see the spring show, which is March 25th, and it's an evening show at 7 p.m., and tickets are $5 at the door. And then our middle school musical, Drowsy Chaperone, is on Friday, March 20th at 7:30 p.m. At Novi Middle School, and tickets are $10 for adults and $5 for students. So I encourage everyone to go out there and see them. And that's all I have.
Thank you so much, Annika, and I hope that you have a safe and enjoyable spring break. I know you're such a hard worker throughout the year and super involved in all levels, so we appreciate all you do and what you bring to the board.
Thank you.
So thank you. Okay, we are going to move on to donations. So this evening, we have one donation, Deerfield Music Program. I'll turn it over to Mr. Meinka.
All right, I believe I saw Mr. Francis here and our great music teacher from Deerfield. If you could come on up and share a little bit about the donation.
Yeah. Hello, I am Crystal Davis. I'm the music teacher at Deerfield. I wanted to take a minute to extend my gratitude towards our anonymous donor who has completely funded a class set of ORF instruments, including xylophones, metallophones, glockenspiels, a fundraising project that would have taken me years and years to accomplish. So we are so thankful. Because of your generosity, our Deerfield students will have a 1-to-1 ratio of these instruments, allowing for a more active and engaging music-making experience. ORF instruments really help our learners master pitch, rhythm, and melody, and are great tools to learn composition and improvising. And our youngest students will benefit from the fine motor skills and coordination that is learned through playing these instruments. So these instruments will last a very long time and will benefit students here at Deerfield for many years to come. I'm thankful for a school and community that truly values music education and knows its worth. And on behalf of me and our students, we're very thankful. Thank you so much.
And I am here to thank two people in particular. Our anonymous donor, when that night was happening, she started getting some fundraisings, trying to sell popcorn at $1 a pop. They stepped and pulled me aside and said, hey, how much is an instrument? And I said, I'll find out. And he goes, well, how much is all the instruments? And I said, we'll also find out. And so he definitely said we can make that happen. So the fact that they wanted to make this donation happen so that kids could get their hands on musical instruments right away was amazing, and that when the question was asked of how much and we'll make it happen was amazing. And the second person I wanted to thank was Miss Davis, because we actually have the world's greatest music teacher at Deerfield. The kids love coming to music class, and when we have an educator so passionate too, you'll see kids dribbling basketballs to rhythm, you will see kids standing on paper plates skating to some of the music in the hallways, and now she's got something else even more fun up her sleeve with this instrument donation. So I wanted to say thank you to our anonymous donor who wanted to be kept anonymous from the district because he just wanted to do something kind. So thank you, board, for hopefully accepting this donation, and we look forward to our order, which was placed hopefully today. Once this gets approved, we will place that order and get our instruments in. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you both for being here and sharing your gratitude. Mr. Micah, do you want to read the actual donation? Would you like me to?
Sure, I can do that. So this particular donation is actually twofold. So we have the first donation, which is $8,268.32 for the music department at Deerfield Elementary for xylophone project, and $2,000 also for the music department at Deerfield Elementary. And so the recommendation is that the Novi Community School District Board of Education accept the generous donation in the amount of $10,268.32 as presented with appreciation and thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Micah. Can I get a motion from a board member? Mrs. Bodwine?
I move to accept the donation as presented.
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Bodwine and supported by Mrs. Kleebert. Any comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 6-0. Thank you to our anonymous donor, and thank you both for being here and sharing your appreciation. Thank you. Okay, we are going to move on to celebrations. This evening, we have two celebrations. We are first going to do our weekly Wildcat recognitions, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Carino to read who they are this month.
Thank you. The Novi Community School District is proud and excited to present our weekly Wildcat recognitions from this past month. This program allows us to highlight our remarkable staff's efforts, which are submitted by our staff. The week of March 2nd, 2026, Megan Chapin-Dubé, chemistry teacher at Novi High School. Megan is a strong leader who supports new staff with guidance and care. Megan has done a phenomenal job at differentiating chemistry content for struggling learners. She has taken extra time and utilized her expertise to create an attainable curriculum for all students. The week of March 9th, Callie Gabrielle, building supervisor at Novi Middle School. Callie is an absolute rock star. She goes out of her way to make the grounds, classrooms, cafeteria, and hallways at the middle school shine always with a smile. We are so grateful for the deep care and attention she puts into our space. And finally, the week of March 16th, Cindy Long, Student Success Coach, District K through 4. Cindy continues to go above and beyond to support students and teachers. She contributes great ideas to MTSS meetings, provides strategies and support, and continues to follow up and help. She is amazing, and we are lucky to have her in Novi and at all of our K-4 buildings.
Thank you very much. And we will be having a reception for all of our weekly Wildcats towards the end of the year. But if I can get a motion from a board member for this recommendation? Mrs. Klebert?
I'm recommending that the Novi Community School District Board of Education recognize our weekly Wildcats, Megan, Callie, and Cindy, and extend our appreciation for their commitment to excellence and our students in district.
Second.
Recommended by Mrs. Klebert and supported by Mr. Mishner. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Congratulations to our weekly Wildcats, and we look forward to seeing who else is on the docket. We will move on to our Educators of the Year, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Meinka.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ruskin. This is an awesome opportunity because we have celebrated some of our teachers publicly, but we get the opportunity to do that tonight before the board and the community. We have 4 educators in our districts that are absolutely incredible. There's a rigorous process that we go through, and I'm going to ask Dr. Carino to explain a little bit about that and then also introduce our 4 Educators of the Year.
Thank you. We have a program where we allow our staff to nominate their colleagues and choose a staff member that they believe embodies excellence across the district in their position. A committee reviews each of the nominations, and we had quite a few this year with very stiff competition, but we feel that we picked 4 truly outstanding educators that make a difference across the Novi Community School District. So we are excited to introduce them to you this evening. We have presented them and surprised them in their classrooms. We also, from those 4, we selected one, or the NEF selected one as the Novi Educational Foundation overall Educator of the Year. And so we are just very excited to be able to share them with you this evening. So the first Educator of the Year was Lily Stojanoff. She is our 9th through 12th grade Adult Education and Career Prep Educator of the Year. And I'm just going to read a small snippet from her nomination packet from her colleagues so that you can understand why we selected her. One of the areas of teaching that I appreciate the most about Lily is her ability to prepare 9th graders for the rigors of future science classes. Lily's teaching methods provide students with skills that can carry them into later years of high school science. When our students enter chemistry or AP biology classes, they are well equipped with the fundamental knowledge and skills that they need to be successful. This is because of the preparation, rigor, and accountability that Lily has taught them as 9th graders. That is the best account of student success. They took what they learned from Lily and used it to grow and mature to be successful for future years. Lily also consistently dedicates herself to the study of science and biology. She is the first to share when new research comes out and brings her findings to her class. She keeps her knowledge up to date and shares this with her students and colleagues. So congratulations to Lily. And I will go through all of them, and then we'll welcome them all up at one time.
Okay.
Our middle school Educator of the Year is Rebecca Schulte. So we are very excited because Rebecca Schulte's classroom is always buzzing in the best ways possible. Students come together in this room to build relationships, think deeply, and learn in a true community. In her classroom, students experiment as German speakers with an emphasis on vocabulary and grammar that will serve them when they interact with native German speakers. In each instance, Rebecca masterfully creates a safe space where empathy leads both the content conversation and the interactions everyone has with each other. She encourages students to make connections and find ways in which their learning applies to their everyday lives. She takes the time to pause, think, and honor the depth of student responses by celebrating them with the class as a whole. As a facilitator of learning, Rebecca demonstrates what it truly means to be a lifelong learner by growing in her teaching, craft, and leadership alongside her students. This helps students find the motivation to invest their best work in her courses and actively participate in the classroom community. Rebecca Schulte. our preschool through fourth grade Educator of the Year, we have Barb Zimmerman. One of the most meaningful ways Barb engages her students is through her genuine joy and playful spirit. As a young fives and kindergarten teacher, she truly understands how young children learn best, and she brings learning to life through laughter, enthusiasm, and connection. Barb has a natural ability to be wonderfully silly in a way that immediately puts students at ease and draws them into the lesson. Her classroom is full of smiles, laughter, and eager little learners who are excited to participate because they feel safe, valued, and loved. What makes this especially powerful is that her silliness is intentional. Barb builds trust, encourages risk-taking, and helps students feel confident enough to try new things. As both her colleague and a parent of children who have been lucky enough to be in her classroom, I have seen firsthand how her energy and warmth create an environment where students thrive emotionally and academically. Barb's ability to connect with children on such a genuine level makes her an exceptional educator and a true role model for both students and staff. Congratulations. And last but certainly not least, Carolyn Kidder was selected as our Outstanding Ancillary Educator of the Year. She works at Novi Middle School. As a math interventionist, Carolyn intentionally tailors instruction to each student's specific needs. She carefully scaffolds lessons so students can build understanding at their own pace, adjusting strategies when something is not working. Carolyn takes time to listen to students, understand where their confusion lies, and respond with targeted instruction that helps them experience success. Her individualized approach helps students build confidence and reinforces that their learning needs matter. Carolyn is relentless in her drive to reach all students. I have sat with her at after-school meetings with parents and students. She has shown her willingness to be available in the evenings for students to email her questions when they are stuck on a topic. She goes above and beyond what is required every day to help students, not only in math, but also life. Congratulations, Carolyn. And from those 4 outstanding educators, like I said, the NEF had the very difficult job of selecting just one of them for our overall NEF Educator of the Year, and they selected Rebecca Schulze from the middle school. And so she was the recipient of a brand new car and a surprise presentation, and so I'd like to just give her one extra round of applause for being here. So 3 of our lovely ladies are here this evening. Unfortunately, Carolyn Kidder had a previous engagement and could not join us, but I would love to call each of them up to be able to give them a certificate and their nomination packet so they can take some time to read the extensive, amazing things that their colleagues said about them.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Carino. If you guys would like to come up, are you going to go around to them? Yeah? Okay. Come on up. No, just to the microphone there. Yeah.
Congratulations.
And we don't want to put you on the spot, but if you'd like to say a few words, you're welcome to. If you don't, that is totally fine too, but you could maybe just introduce who you brought with you.
Well, I'm never a lost
Okay, perfect. Great. Fantastic.
I wrote a little speech.
Yes, this is great.
First, I'd like to introduce the love of my life, my son Jack, my daughter Abby, and I'll cry. My son Jack is 28. He's a 9-year retired naval medical officer. He's pursuing his nursing degree presently at Oakland University. My daughter Abby is 23. She is a student of Mr. Jeremy's. She graduated magna cum laude from Central Michigan with a degree in marketing in media and graphic design. And she just completed a 6-month contract position at the Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island as their lead photographer for the summers. Now she's presently pursuing additional contracts that will lead her to the career of her dreams. So, first, thank you to the Board of Education and the Village Oaks community for such an honorable recognition. I am tremendously in awe of the nomination crafted by my coworkers, Jamie Hunley and Liz Allerton. Being nominated and then selected must be one of the pinnacle events in an educator's career. To be twice selected in one career, I'll put in a phrase that I have coined, it's just that is amazing. Although this yearly honor only honors 4 of us in Novi, it would be remiss of me to accept such an acknowledgement without the recognition of the educational community I thrive in. Through creativity, collaboration, and commitment, Novi teachers flourish. The educational field has tremendously changed and advanced since I began my career. Yeah, I know. That was ages ago. To become an effective teacher, one must not remain static. It must be noted that the Novi system is built upon the drive of thousands of teachers, people who face challenges daily, formulate outcomes, and proudly implement highly designed curriculum for our Novi learners. They too deserve the recognition that I am receiving tonight. With that in mind, I'd like to leave you to reflect on one of my personal models, which has served as a guiding principle throughout my life's journey, one that has served me well. It being, to learn is to live. So now please be inspired and go out and live a little. Thank you so much.
Hello, I am Lily. I don't have a speech like that. Not even close. I just want to tell you I'm thankful, I'm honored to be selected from the group of educators that Novi has is amazing. To be able to work with the colleagues I have, you know, my family's support, my son Jordy, my daughter Laura, my husband Dan, and of course Milo, I can't forget him, because he goes to work with me as well and makes a lot of people very, very happy and relaxed. And of course, admin support, Nicole. When I asked her if I could start bringing Milo as a therapy dog, she didn't hesitate. She just said, absolutely, if he's training to be a therapy dog, bring him. And he's been doing it now for 6 years, 5, 6 years, I think he's been going to school. So again, I'm honored, I'm humbled. I'm sorry, I don't have a speech like that.
Oh, you're perfect.
Thank you.
I also do not have a prepared speech, but I do want to thank you all for the recognition. It's just been overwhelming in the best way. The number of former students who have reached out and to family, friends, and it's, we moved to Michigan in 2016 and did not know a soul. And Novi really became a place where people saw me and encouraged me and developed me. And there is not me the way that I am without the people in Novi who invested in me, who saw me from day one and really encouraged me to hone my craft and always encouraged me to keep trying to be better. And it's the influence of the teachers that I get to teach with, the incredible administrators, and my incredible students who are just willing to try things, just try and do different things and have fun with learning, and including like the incredible educators around me. Carolyn Kidder, I feel like I have to mention that she also played a huge role in seeing me and helping me and sort of modeling to me what great teaching looks like, and the way I call her, she's an octopus on roller skates. Like she just like somehow can do more than most people. And seeing that and learning from her, it was so formative to me in early years from being here. So thank you all for the way that you invest in teachers, that you encourage collaboration and teamwork. I don't know another profession that's not really cutthroat and sort of, it's really collaborative. We want everybody to succeed, and I'm really, really appreciative to be here. So thank you very much.
Thank you to the three of you for being here and sharing your thoughts. Congratulations again, and thank you to your family for sharing you with us here in Novi. If I can get a motion for the recommendation? Mrs. Kleber?
Recommended that the Novi Community School District Board of Education recognize Lily, Rebecca, Barb, and Carolyn as the 2026 Novi Educators of the Year and extend appreciation for their commitment to excellence.
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Kleber and supported by Mr. Mena. Any comments? Mrs. Bodwine?
I first want to congratulate all of you. My family has only had direct experience with one of you, though, so I wanted to especially thank Mrs. Stowe. Both of my older two have had you and have come home with rave reviews of your class as well as your dog. And I just think it's so special that you include him, and also just the way that you lead your classroom, I think, has been wonderful for my students, and I know for many, many more. So this seems like a very well-deserved honor, and I appreciate you. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mrs. Kleber?
I just, again, Lily, Rebecca, and Barb, and Carolyn, want to congratulate you all and thank you all. You are the biggest assets of our district. We can have the most amazing facilities, but if we don't have amazing people like you working in them, our kids don't learn, our kids don't thrive. So thank you so much for all of you do. I wish we could honor more staff every month and every year, but to be selected as the 4 among hundreds of our staff, just congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Kleber. Any other comments? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you guys again, and congratulations. All righty, we are going to move on to our personnel report. We have one personnel report this evening. Personnel report A, Mr. Meinka.
Thank you. The Personnel Report A, I'll turn it over to Dr. Carino in a moment. I just would like to make a comment that this is the time of year that we have a number of retirements and resignations. This is something that happens at this time every year. But I think as you look at the list of these individuals, there are people who have dedicated an entire career to this school district and have just influenced countless lives in their careers. And so I don't want to single anyone out, but there's just an incredible group of educators here, and I think we all owe them our gratitude and thanks for all that they've invested in our community and our students over the years. And so with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Carino for the Personnel Report A.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We are incredibly excited to announce the hiring of several talented individuals and officially welcome them into the Novi family. We begin tonight's personnel report by recommending Madeline Peters for a second grade teaching position at Novi Woods. Maddie joins us from the Walled Lake School District, where she previously served as a first grade teacher. We are also pleased to recommend Charlie Richter as our newest high school counselor. Charlie comes to us from South Lyon Community Schools and is already a familiar face in our community, serving as a varsity assistant baseball coach here in Novi. We also recommend Calissa Stokes for a special education paraprofessional position at Novi Middle School. Calissa previously served as a high school technology teacher at a charter school and as a guest paraprofessional in our district. Finally, we recommend Adriana Hatchard as a GSRP teacher at the ECEC. Adriana has served as a long-term guest teacher and private tutor before coming to Novi. We are confident that these 4 individuals will be wonderful additions to our schools. As we turn to our resignations and retirements, I want to note that tonight's list is quite extensive. As we discussed last month, our typical deadline for retirement notifications is March 15th, and many of our staff members submitted their notifications to meet that timeline. Regarding resignations, we share that Heidi Phelps, Coordinator of Special Education Transition Services, resigned effective February 24th. We also received resignations from Jennifer Curry, a teacher who was on a leave of absence this year, Melissa Kelly, a Parkview kindergarten teacher who notified us of her intent to leave the district in April, as well as Stephanie Kurzer, a second grade teacher at Village Oaks. Additionally, Christy Buttermore, an adult ed ESL teacher and instructional coach, has resigned from her position, and Deborah Bowen was dismissed from her position. The heart of our report tonight, however, is the list of dedicated professionals who have shared their plans to retire at the conclusion of the 25-26 school year. This group represents decades of experience and commitment to Novi students. The following individuals include Michelle Campos, Dave Cosman, Carrie Ellsworth Carruthers, Lori Osborne, Tom Timmer, Chris Tierpak, Renee Volmer, Carrie Uchuk, Bridget Zaradnik, and Administrative Assistant Terry McCarty from Novi Meadows. Scott Hill and Kylie Treadwell Smith from Parkview, Gerard Kenrick from Novi Woods, Carolyn Kidder from Novi Middle School, and Donna Holtschneider from the ECEC. We wish every one of these individuals much happiness as they begin this next chapter. Their impact on our district is immeasurable, and we look forward to celebrating their tremendous careers more formally at our retiree recognition ceremony and reception later this spring. This concludes this evening's personnel report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carino. If I can get a motion. Mrs. Roney?
That the Novi Community School District Board of Education adopt the Personnel Report A recommendations as presented.
Do we have support?
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Roney and supported by Mrs. Klebert. Any comments? Mrs. Bodwine?
Well, first, I just was reading this list this morning, and I know Mr. Manka talked about some of these people have dedicated a whole entire lifetime of service here, and wanted to give a little shout out to Mr. Cosman, who actually was my sixth grade teacher, if it gives any indication of how long he has worked here. So congratulations to him on an excellent career and retirement. I'd also love to wish Ms. Campos the very best. She is currently educating one of mine and has been an absolute amazing gift to us this year. And I just feel like going through this list, there are so many wonderful teachers, and it is sad to see so many of them going, but I'm thrilled for all of them to begin the next chapter.
Thank you, Mrs. Bodwine. Any other comments? Mr. Mishner?
I was reviewing the list as well, and I'd just like to share my appreciation to my son's entire sixth grade teaching staff. They all are retiring together as a group, which is fitting because they work so well together as a group in educating all our students. So I just wanted to wish them the very best as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mishner. Any other comments? Mrs. Roney?
I'm sure Mr. Cosman's going to be missed. My son had him, and after about the third weekend of bringing home something that slithered or was a little, with a lot of legs and stuff, we had a talk, and I said, I really would like normal animals to come home. So then from then on, we only got hedgehogs and geckos and, so. And then Mrs. Kidder was my daughter's seventh grade cheerleading coach. My daughter is now 36 years old. So that was quite a while ago. She was wonderful back then. I'm sure all of these teachers will be missed.
Thank you, Mrs. Roney. Any other comments? I'd just like to say welcome to the new team members, and we'll give you your fair share in a second here. And yes, this list of teachers and educators really just brings to light how lucky we are here in Novi, all the years that they have dedicated. I'm sure you can all, look at the list and see familiar names, people who have really worked directly with your children or from your neighborhood or just being out in the community. So we hope you will not be strangers. We hope to see you around still, and we are really, really, really thrilled and excited for you as you begin your next chapter and appreciate all the time and effort you've put into each and every student that you've made an impact on. So that being said, I will take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. And I will turn it back over to Dr. Carino to introduce the staff who is going to join our Wildcat family.
Thank you. We have 2 of our 4 new hires this evening here with us, so I would like to introduce Maddie Peters. Come on.
Good evening. My name is Madeline Peters. I also go by Maddie. I am teaching second grade at Novi Woods Elementary. Thank you so much to the board and administration for this amazing opportunity. I'm truly so excited to join the district and become part of this community. Education has always been very important to me because I believe schools should be a place where every student feels supported, challenged, and inspired to grow. My goal as an educator is to create a classroom where students feel safe to ask questions, take risks, and develop confidence in their abilities. I am looking forward to working with colleagues, families, and students to help every learner succeed. Thank you again for this opportunity to be a part of the Novi Community School District.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And next up is Charlie.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm very excited to be in the Novi Community School District. I'd like to give a quick shout out to my family who couldn't be here tonight, but they are watching from Boyne, Traverse City, and Florida. So thank you, Mom. Thank you to my sisters, Rachel and Rebecca, for all your love and support through the years. It's a quick little anecdote. It's cool to see the Deerfield because I was part of the second group that was from K to fourth grade in that building. So I was a lifelong learner here in Novi, stuck around ever since graduation coaching baseball, and I'm very excited to be in the high school as a counselor right now. So really it's a dream come true. I'm very excited to get started and to have a very successful career here at Novi. Thank you.
Welcome back. All right, we are going to move on to reports to the board. Our first report to the board is the Wellness Center. I will turn it over to Mr. Meinke for the introduction.
Thank you so much. So several years ago, we started to have some conversations about the opportunity that came to us to engage in a conversation around the development of a wellness center. Those conversations progressed extensively. We had a large group that met. Some of the people in this room were a part of that group. We had about 65 people on a steering committee. Rosalie Johnson, our Director of Mental Health and Wellness, did a great job facilitating and leading that group. And at the time, there were a lot of different pieces in place in terms of federal and state grants that were funding those visions. That vision largely shifted when a lot of those dollars changed and shifted as well. So over the last year, we have been kind of retooling and thinking about what exactly does a wellness and community center look like. And we're excited tonight to bring you a little bit of an update. And so tonight we have Rosalie Johnson. We also have Stuart Reich from King Scott, as well as I think several other individuals from the team. And so with that, I will welcome up Rosalie and Stu to come take us through the presentation.
Thank you.
All right, good evening. So Stu and I are going to co-present tonight. As mentioned, this has been in process here for quite a while, but it's been a bit since we have formally shared with you, and there has been quite a bit of work and forward progress, so we're excited to share those updates with you tonight. So just a very brief look at how we're going to do this. We are going to revisit our why, the purpose behind the Wellness Center. I also want to just give a little bit of a refresher about the 8 dimensions of wellness, because that really has served as our guiding principle when thinking about the design and planning for the Wellness Center. And then we will share the design update, spotlighting 3 key changes, and then Stu will take it over to really share the updated floor plan, renderings, and project schedule. So in previous presentations, I have spent quite a bit of time sharing the why behind this work, sharing statistics and research and visuals. I'm not going to do all of that tonight, again, but I do still think it is important whenever we are talking about an initiative or a project to just revisit that why or purpose. So some of the current challenges that we are facing in education, and specifically in Novi, we continue to see increased levels of stress and anxiety in all of our stakeholders. That includes our students and our adults. And in many instances, we are seeing students who are dealing with more significant mental health needs. We see increased trauma exposure for our students, which has lots of implications. Behavioral escalation. There continues to be a stigma around mental health, though I would say this is getting a little bit better. It does still exist. We have many students coming to us with limited coping and regulation skills. We have students dealing with feelings of isolation and disconnection. We have cultural and language barriers, and we are not immune to the staff burnout that nationally is being experienced in education. And so when we think about Novi Community School District and our belief in well-being and our belief in educating the whole child, we find ourselves in this unique position to really address some of these challenges in an innovative and proactive way. And so that is through this Wellness Center. which really creates this centralized resource hub where we plan to have unique physical spaces, on-site providers and resources, community partners, integrated services, strategic programming, culturally responsive support, family engagement opportunities, and staff wellness initiatives. So I mentioned those 8 dimensions, and Mr. Micah, you reminded everyone about the work that the large committee did. Just to give you a little bit more reference to that, that committee existed with about 65 stakeholders, parents, students, teachers, administrators, board members, community members, and we really all came together to do 3 things. First, we identified our current resources, people, programming, initiatives that really do support mental health and wellness in the Novi Community School District. We then spent time identifying the internal and external factors that are influencing mental health and wellness. And then finally, we brainstormed all of the different opportunities that the Wellness Center could bring to close some of those gaps or address some of those forces that are impacting our stakeholders. And we really did that with these 8 dimensions in mind, and that has been a consistent focus throughout all of the planning to ensure that through the Wellness Center, we are meeting all of the different needs through the lens of the 8 dimensions. How I experience wellness or what I prioritize might be different than what you do, and so through our physical spaces and programming, we want to make sure we meet all 8 of these. So we'll shift to our design update. And this is going to start with spotlighting 3 key changes. So when I originally presented to you, part of our original plan was half of the main level of the Wellness Center was going to be an on-site health clinic through a partnership with Henry Ford, and it was going to serve as kind of that urgent care type of facility, provide a convenience factor for stakeholders, and a lot of work went into really planning with Henry Ford. We had a lot of discussions with their team, looking at the details of what that would actually look like. Everything from what equipment would be needed to the number of staff members that would need to staff that from Henry Ford's side, to the number of stakeholders who would need to come into the clinic on a day-to-day to ensure that they were generating revenue, well, not generating revenue, but really just like breaking even. And simultaneous to that is the experience that we had with this funding. So we really did hit that COVID cliff where a lot of the state and federal funding that was being allocated to support mental health and wellness really did dry up. And so we had to have some critical conversations internally to decide if it was fiscally responsible to move forward with that on-site clinic. Ultimately, we made the decision it did not make sense to move forward with that on-site clinic. But I do want to share that we continue to have strategic conversations with Henry Ford. We value them as a partner. And we continue to talk to them about potential integrated services that we could offer at the Wellness Center, things like behavioral health or a nutritionist on site. And so you'll see on the updated floor plan that there is still space allocated as flex space where we foresee having some of those integrated services. We also continue to talk to them about strategic programming we can provide in our large community space, everything from educational services to collaborating with our district nursing team to provide pop-up clinics. So we have a lot of opportunity and continue to engage in those conversations with Henry Ford. So with that change, it really kind of prompted the second change because we no longer needed half of the upper level to be dedicated to the clinic. And so change number 2 is the relocation of the sunlight therapy room. Originally when presented, we had that on the lower level, and that has since been moved to the upper level. Again, the space became available, and our internal conversations led us to make the decision that it made most sense for that actually to be on the main level from an oversight supervision lens. All of the physical spaces that students might have access to are now on the main level, which is where we would have our staff located. So that was change number 2. It also, I want to mention, allows for our community partners who are meeting with families and students who are all on the lower level to have more of a private location as they are meeting with families about more sensitive topics. So then all of this led to the third change, which is the addition of an immersive reality room. And this was a conversation that we started to revisit as we worked with Spire, who is here tonight, and they are really the experts in the technology that will go into the sunlight therapy room. And so we were able to have this conversation with them about the idea of an immersive reality room. We're excited about this opportunity because we feel like it, again, supports some of the unique needs of our students. You'll see a rendering of what that immersive reality looks like, but it provides some visuals and, in some cases, educational content that serves as, it meets some sensory needs, it can de-escalate a student, it can create kind of a mindful experience for students, and it's a really, really great resource for our students with special needs. And so when we think about, again, meeting the diverse needs of our community, the immersive reality room was an exciting addition. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Stu, who's going to give us our update on the floor plans.
Thank you, Rosalie. Hello, everybody. I am really excited to share these updated design concepts with you. I'm going to go through the plans, as Rosalie was saying. I'm going to share some of the renderings. They'll probably tell more of the story of what the design looks like, and then I'll close my remarks by talking briefly about the schedule. I know all of you are very familiar with this building, but I just wanted to point out that north is on the left side of the slide here, just in case there's any confusion. You'll note, too, that there's some arrows on the plan here. This is kind of in context to where the renderings are shown, and I'll show those in a second here. I want to note also that one of the goals for this project was to utilize as much of the existing infrastructure as possible, including walls, HVAC equipment, electrical equipment, and just being cognizant of the budget and trying to be economical and efficient with our design. But in addition to that, we wanted to create something really unique, something flexible, something that would really create some excitement, and as Rosalie was saying, create a space for these 8 components of wellness. So I'll go over the plan briefly here, and then I think, again, the renderings will tell more of the story. But the exterior of the building is really going to be intact. We're not planning to do any exterior work. Most, if not all of the work, is going to be all interior focused. So the existing lobby space, like you're used to, will be our new welcome center. As you enter the space, you'll be greeted by a new custom bench with a reception desk. To the left of the plan is a large community room. One of the great things about this space is it's a large gathering space that can host a wide variety of flexible functions. We've also been able to save some of the partitions in that old boardroom. So we'll be able to split that community room into two different spaces. The furniture is another flexible component, so you'll be able to reorganize the furniture. So the layout you're seeing now is not like it. You can repurpose, reconfigure the layout based on, whatever kind of activity is in that space. We've also got a collaboration room. This is a room more to what Rosalie was saying earlier, to more sensitive conversations that just need a little extra privacy. The existing toilet rooms, as you might remember, are really small. They are not ADA compliant, so we had to create 2 additional accessible toilet rooms, which is on the left side, as you'll see there. But we are planning to refinish those existing toilet rooms so it has a fresher look to them. On the right side of the plan, we've got the flex space areas, which will be for our medical partners, and then we've got the sun therapy room and our immersive room. And again, I'll show the renderings in a moment. One thing I want to point out too is you've probably noticed that we've got a new elevator, which is located where the existing stairwell is. That elevator provides just better accessibility and makes the building more compliant for code. And then one of the great features about this project is the new stairwell to the east of the building, which is on the upper side of the plan. Right at that glass wall, that really is a large focal point for this project. We wanted to make it a really inviting part of the project, and then just utilizing that natural light to get really deep into the building was a huge element of our design. Looking at the lower level, so on the left side of the plan, we've got some Easter Seal, Novi youth assistants, and some conference room spaces. We've also got a smaller community room, so again, another flexible space We've got some additional conference spaces. In the center of the lower level is our cafe lounge space. So it's really kind of in the heart of the building. Just again, to the upper side of the plan here, we've got access to the outside, we've got the stairwell, we've got a lot of natural light. And then to the right side of the plan, you'll see our fitness place, our fitness studio. This is really geared towards faculty, administrators, employees of the district. And then that also comes with private shower rooms, changing rooms, and some locker rooms. And then lastly, we've got a recovery room. This is a space that will have furniture geared towards muscle relaxation equipment, and just some really good equipment for recovery and muscle. Going to the rendering. So this is a rendering of our welcome center. Again, very welcoming, some new finishes on the ceiling part of the structure. We've got a nice welcoming bench right when you walk into the space. The welcome reception desk is at the back, so that way that person stationed there can see who is coming and who's going, and can kind of direct the traffic a little bit better. This is our old boardroom. This is our new large community space. So very open. We want to maximize as much visibility and natural light. So if you remember those two angled walls, we're going to be removing those and capturing as much daylight as we can in that space. We'll have places for monitors, and a lot of flexible furniture, as I previously mentioned. So again, a flexible space for a wide variety of activities. This is our collaboration room. Again, more of a sensitive conversation space. Just a very kind of soft tones, soft finishes. This is one of the new accessible toilet rooms, just to kind of give you an idea of the space, what the finishes might look like. For our sunlight therapy room, one of our premium spaces in this building, one of the great things about this space is not only are you going to get the healthy UV lights from the light fixture above, but it'll give you that sense that you are actually on a beach somewhere or in a forest somewhere. The idea is to have these TV panels around the perimeter of the room to make you feel like you're actually looking out of a window. And that's something that we try to create, that sense of being in a building and looking out into a beach or some kind of natural, relaxing kind of setting. This is our immersive reality room. It's probably not going to be this big of a space, but this really gives you an idea of what kind of a space this can be. And I know Rosalie talked a little bit about it. You know, the great thing about this particular space is that can be used for special education, it can be used for relaxation, it can be used for educational opportunities, so it has a lot of functions to it. Going back to our main lobby space, this is a rendering of our stairwell. We're planning for a wall for all the donors, and just a gratitude for all the stakeholders that were involved in this project. And again, this really shows the natural light coming deep into the space. And then just to the bottom of the stairwell, this is our cafe lounge. Very welcoming, soft finishes. To the left of this image is our fitness room, and right here. So in the fitness room, you'll have a visible view to the stairwell, to the lounge space. You'll have natural light to the east, and just a lot of opportunities. So thinking about our schedule, again, today is our presentation. We're planning to have our school board approval in June, and then we're going to start construction in June, and then hopefully be operational by January of '27. So basically from now until June, we'll be going through the process of reviewing documents, procurement, trying to get things reviewed by the jurisdictions. So that concludes our presentation. Is there any questions?
Thank you to both of you, first of all, for one, always having this open mindset and pivoting and coming up with great ideas and ways we can continuously help our students and staff. So we do appreciate the 18 months of work, if not longer, and the new updates. So do any board members have any questions? Mr. Mishner?
More of a comment, great
Yes.
presentation. I could easily see how all the 8 points of mental well-being are fitted into the different aspects of the plan. I like how we'll finally have a permanent place for our community partners like Novi Youth Assistance and our other partners to centrally be located at, easy for the district staff to get in touch with, easy for our community and family members to get in touch with. So I'm really excited about that. The immersive room is very interesting. I'll be curious to see what we wind up using it for. But in general, I like how you're addressing all of our 5 focus areas that the board put forth for the district. Obviously, staff support and wellness are obvious ones, but even how you're able to fit in some innovative academics with the immersive room that you got in there, being able to kind of accommodate some student passions and interests. And I think most importantly, not to be overlooked, is financial and infrastructure management. We're able to repurpose an existing structure. We don't have to pay for an expensive demo. We don't have to create a brand-new building somewhere else to house all these different seemingly unrelated facilities. We can repurpose and be financially responsible with the district's assets in what it looks like to be a really beautiful way. So very excited to see this project come together. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Mr. Missioner. Mrs. Kleber?
Yeah, thank you for putting this together. The pictures are beautiful. I do love how this has kind of shifted to be more of a community center as well as a wellness center. I know that title has been stuck on this project for a while, but it sounds like it's shifting a little bit, and I really like that. My goal for this building would be to make sure that it's both accessible to all of our stakeholders, students and staff, parents and community members, but also utilized. And I see a lot of flex space rooms and a lot of smaller conference rooms and things like that. So as you continue to refine the design, I just want to make sure we're creating rooms that aren't just going to sit vacant all the time. You use the word sensitive conversations a lot, but those aren't happening, every single moment of every single day. So having rooms that maybe students can also use, families or groups, scouting groups, clubs, things like that, I think would be important to make sure we incorporate.
Can I just make a quick
Yeah.
comment? Yeah, thank you for lifting that. They really are intentionally labeled flex spaces because we know that there's such a continuum of potential needs. One of the things that, like I just presented to the community liaisons, and they were very excited about the idea of having a space that they can gather and meet with newcomers and our new families to really connect them to all of the resources. So that's just an example of that was a very recent conversation where it was like, oh, wow, that's a whole nother need that we haven't necessarily even explored yet. And so I think I can appreciate your comment. We definitely don't want the spaces to be vacant. We want them to be utilized, and that's where the strategic planning and programming will be really important. I think, we've talked about, again, when you hit about all of those 8 dimensions, intellectual wellness as a dimension. So could there be a need for tutoring? Could there be a need for a nutritionist? Is there something that our staff are going through that we don't even know about yet that maybe we bring someone in for? So can absolutely appreciate that comment and know that there's a lot of strategic thought and planning going into that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Kleber. Any other questions? Mrs. Bodwine?
First, I just wanted to compliment your team. The renderings are beautiful. The space planning, I think, is excellent. I'm really pleased with the direction this is going, especially given the funding challenges that popped up. I did serve on that committee, and we had so many wonderful ideas when there was all of this money available, and then it just disappeared. And so trying to pivot and find something that'll still be a great resource for our community and a good use of our facility, to me, is fantastic. So I really like the direction you guys are going here. I did have a couple questions, of course. First, I was curious, and you don't even have to look at this now, but with the toilet rooms and the first level, the existing ones, the way they go now, that ladies' room in particular, I'm very familiar with that one, not the men's room so much, but that I feel like you could possibly divide it into just having 2 single stalls, more similar to the ones you're adding. I don't know if they would meet ADA or not, but I think that might be worth looking at given the way the facility will be used. And I feel like people working in that building complained frequently about the layout of that restroom. So that, if it's not a lot more to change it, that might be a thing to take a peek at. And then I do have similar concerns to what Mrs. Klebert expressed, that there seems to be maybe this is exactly what she was saying, but there seems to be like a lot of meeting spaces. And so I do like the focus on flexible furnishings, especially in the large space, I think is fantastic. In the lower level, we've got 2 different like conference room looking spaces. And so I guess I just would want to make sure you guys are really talking to your stakeholders to make sure we need that many meeting rooms there. Because I mean, we're also right near Meadows, this building, you know, so if you guys needed like a large scale conference room for something, there are those available nearby, but if that's a good use of the space, maybe, I just would be curious the intended use with that. But given that this has pivoted so much, I think that, you know, meeting spaces might be great for classes and things, but it would be something to consider. And then finally, I just wanted to confirm the workout facility, that is still for staff, correct? Okay. Because it didn't say like staff on there, but I thought that was still the plan, but we've changed a lot, so I wanted to make sure. Okay, other than that, I think everything looks beautiful, and the finishes and renderings and just the general aesthetic of it to me is spectacular, so I'm really excited to see. And I think if that boardroom had looked the way it does in their renderings, maybe we might have hung out there. I mean, this is lovely too, but really much nicer than what was there, so great job.
Thanks, Betsy.
Thank you. Mrs. Bodwine, do we have any other questions or comments? Good. Seeing none, we certainly will, any comments or concerns or something that maybe you're sleeping and you wake up in the middle of the night and have a thought.
I would never wake up and have a thought.
Yes.
Send me an email.
Yes, we'll send you an
text you.
email. But again, thank you really for all of your hard work. We look forward to hearing this moving forward. The schedule and the timeline seems quick and amazing. I love that. I love the thought of by January, this space could be utilized by our partner Easter Seals and Novi Youth Assistant, and really get in there and make intentional work for our students and staff and community members. So, do you have any additional comments, Mr. Micah?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys very much.
Maybe we could go try out that sunroom.
Yes, exactly. Okay, we are going to move to our second report to the board, which is the Novi Community School District Budget Amendment A2, and I will turn it over to Mr. Micah.
Thank you, Dr. Ruskin. We are here today for our next amendment. You know, typically school districts in our district has done 2 amendments throughout the year. With Ms. Cicluna coming on, we're actually going to be doing 3 amendments. As we all know that the state budgets over the last 2 years have been volatile, to say the least. And so as a result of the, you know, curveballs that were thrown after our school year has already started, which is really problematic. We thought it would be prudent to keep everybody updated and have these numbers in front of people. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Cicluna for Amendment 2 report.
Okay, thank you. I am going to jump right into it. This is the summary of the second budget amendment. I'll get into some details in a couple additional slides, but basically, we are looking at a $1.7 million reduction to revenue and less than $100K increase on the expense side. I think the board probably already knows what the largest impact to revenue is, but I'll highlight it momentarily. So enrollment revenue updates, I'm just sharing enrollment is steady. We all know that. It's projected to remain stable and steady. And just for your edification, I'm going to continue to use a 0 increase for the final budget amendment in June and the 26-27 budgeting. I also want to share some good news that Novi's Community School District retained its AA2 rating with Moody's. We were just reviewed for the first series of our bond sale, and we secured that, so that's really good news. From the revenue reduction side, the largest impact is the opt-out of 31AA, which I know the school district and all of the employees are happy with the board's decision to opt out of that. We are not the only school district to opt out. I believe 75% of school districts in Michigan have opted out. And we are surrounded by neighboring districts who are also projecting a deficit for the end of the year because those funds were kind of abruptly taken away from us. Additional reductions, so interest rates have dropped faster than we projected, and so our interest income has been reduced for the rest of the year. We saw a lower enrollment in our virtual program, and our Medicaid fee-for-service revenue has also declined based on submissions. On the expenditure side, like I said, I mean, it's roughly less than $100K increase. When we first did the First Amendment and we thought we had additional funding, not excluding 31AA, we did make some additional investments in the school district. We were very strategic and methodical as a cabinet about it, so I think we approached those investments the right way. But now we just don't have the revenue to support it from a break-even standpoint. So we are projecting an impact to our fund balance, and I will send all these slides. Actually, these slides should have already been sent to the board. But we are projecting a hit to the fund balance, which we're actually on the flip side of that, working on a lot of things to try and remedy this. And one of the things that Ben shared in a prior board meeting was obviously the Oakland County millage that's going out for a vote in August. And so obviously, we're not banking on that, but that would be a huge influx of revenue to not only replace the fund balance that we might see, but also give us additional dollars for other things. Looking at 26, 27, there are some changes that will positively impact our revenue. So we just entered into a new lease agreement with the Japanese School of Detroit. Some changes with that lease agreement include some minor changes. So we're actually changing the renewal of the lease. It used to be from April 1st to March 30th, which does not align with our school year. So we're shifting that to align July 1st to June 30th. So their new lease will actually go into effect July 1st, 2026. Additional things that we've incorporated, actually the main one, is a greater than 3% or CPI increase to the cost of the lease year over year for the next 6 years. And really, the only thing that that does is offset the increasing operational costs of cleaning the buildings, covering the cost of replacement or damages, repairs, et cetera. That's really all that's there for. Additionally, on the athletic side, Ben previously shared, I think at a parent meeting, we are looking at pay-to-play increases and evaluating our transportation structure across the district. That's not to say that that's going to change, but it's prudent of us to look at all of these programs and identify some gaps in what we're providing. And then last but not least, we will be renewing our contract with Chartwells. This is a required renewal before we go out for RFP in 27, 28. So I'll be bringing that within the next couple months to renew. And that is it. So any questions from the board?
Thank you, Ms. Cicluna. Anybody have any questions? Mr. Mishner?
Just one, going all the way back to the detail on the virtual school. Is the virtual school overall still in a break-even or healthy financial position?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions. I've asked Becca a lot of them prior to this. I just want to comment highlight that these changes are really a function of outside impacts. I think Becca and her team does a really good job of collecting an immense amount of data. There's spreadsheets with thousands of line items to support her budget, and a budget is an educated estimate based on the data that you know at the time, and Becca did a great job of estimating based on the data we knew at the time. And when that data changes due to outside factors, some of that is out of our hands. I think Becca and her team have done a good job. They're starting to work to react and respond to those changes. It's hard to do that mid-year. I think that finding new revenue sources or ways to reduce expenses in a way that's, financially responsible and also the least amount of impact to our students and staff and things like that. So thank you, Becca, for dealing with the changes that our state so kindly made partway through the year.
Thank you, Mrs. Kleebert, and thank you for all the time that you spend asking the questions. Any other? Mrs. Bodwine?
Mr. Manka, would you, or Ms. Cluna, please explain, just for anyone who might have missed previous meetings, what the 31 AA funds were and why we declined them?
Sure. So this year, the state passed their budget in late October. We got wind of that, after we produce a budget in June, as we will, as required by law every year. The state just didn't do theirs. And so, we're starting the year with a staffing level and everything that we're supposed to do. As part of the budget negotiations that they ended up passing, 31 AA is for school safety and mental health. These are line items that we've had for years. And we found out very late in the process that when the budget passed, essentially school districts would have to agree to give up certain privileges and protections for our employees in the event of a casualty event. The definitions of that were exceptionally broad, and school districts were left with the choice of, do we give up millions of dollars of state funding, essentially through extortion, and 75% of the school districts in our state said no, because we're not going to put our staff in that position. I'm proud of the conversations that this board had to say that we're not going to put our staff in that position. However, it comes at a hit to our budget in an unexpected way, where $1.1 million all of a sudden shows up after our operation year had already been multiple months underway. So we are talking extensively through the budget negotiations process now that just simply cannot happen. It's not possible for schools to be able to pivot. There are schools all over the state that are showing drastic deficits as a result of this. We're very fortunate in Novi to have resources, and we've been very, very fortunate to be able to be in a position where we can weather storms like this, but that's not necessarily the case for many districts. And so we need school safety and mental health dollars. We've built our systems around those resources, and unfortunately, when they're pulled out from under you multiple months into the school year, it's very difficult to adapt and change. So we're monitoring that closely. We'll be staying tuned, but we felt like putting our staff in a position like that was untenable. And I will say, to make matters worse, the 25% of the school districts that for whatever reason could not turn the money down, that took the risk, they divvied up the 75% of our dollars and divvied it up to the 25% that took the money equally. So that means that there was an extensive infusion of capital that was not necessary or planned for to districts that took the dollars, and unexpectedly gaps in the budgets for all of the districts that did not. So it's a really problematic thing. Sometimes I talk about the legislative process. It's real in our community when it comes to these types of things. Hopefully needs to just be aware that Lansing needs to support the public education system, and these are ways that are not supportive. So we've been very vocal about that. We will continue to be, and hopefully in this year's budget cycle, they'll be able to remove this distinction.
Thank you, Mr. Micah, for the extensive explanation. Thank you, Mrs. Bodwine. Do we have any other comments or questions? Okay. We are going to move to comments from the audience. If anybody would like to come and speak to the board, make sure you fill out a card in the back. I don't see anybody eagerly running to the podium. Is that correct? Okay. So we're going to take a 5-minute break. It is 7:15, and we will come back at around 7:20. Thank you.
It drove me and it said, okay, I'm gonna stop and clear.
Welcome back. Okay, we are going to move to our consent agenda. On tonight's consent agenda, we have approval of minutes, minutes of a regular board meeting, February 19th, 2026, minutes of a joint DEI curriculum committee of the whole meeting, February 26th, 2026, minutes of capital projects committee of the whole, March 5th, 2026, approval of the bills, board report, February 2026, check register, February 2026, purchase card report for February 2026, approval of field trips. We have the Novi Singers and Bella Voice Choir on the Chicago trip, Novi High School mock trial state competition, Novi Dance Company at Hope College Dance Day, and Novi Middle School and Novi High School Science Olympiad National Tournament. If I can get a motion, Mr. Mena?
Yeah, I move that the board approve consent items as presented.
Second.
Recommended by Mr. Mena, supported by Mr. Mishner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 6-0. We will move on to our 3 information and discussion items. We will start with the Novi Community School District E-rate firewall. Mr. Meinka.
Thank you. Every 4 or 5 years, some of our infrastructure, which helps keep the bad things, including ransomware and other things, out, is our firewall. This is a system that we're able to purchase through the E-rate process, and we've talked about that. There's some items there for approval tonight. This will come to you next month for approval, and Mr. Smith is here in case anybody has any questions about this project.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, if you want to just come up, I don't know if anybody has any questions, but if not, anybody have any specific things that they'd like to ask? Okay. I guess not. Thank you for.
Wait.
Oh, okay, never mind. Here we go.
Have we worked with Fortinet before?
Yes, we currently have them at one of their product now.
Okay, awesome. I think it's a great brand, so.
Yeah, and they're tremendous. They were on top of our list, so we were really happy to get them. The one we're getting is actually in enterprise mode firewall, so we're excited to be able to get this and bring it in.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Okay. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all the work you do behind the scenes, and we will see you at our next board meeting for approval.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move to the custodial services RFP. I'll turn it over to Mr. Meinka.
Thank you. For several years, we've talked about our custodial services, and really grateful to Ms. Cicluna, who took it upon her team to go through the process along with Mr. Dergu, and really looked at our custodial services and actually did a full-blown RFP, which is something that's always good to do after a period of time. And it's been a while since the district's done that. So I believe she has a few things to share with you and then allow you to ask any questions for info and discussion tonight. I'll turn it over to Ms. Cicluna.
Thank you. I do have a presentation I'll send to the board, but in lieu of time, they didn't want me presenting all night, so I'll just share it. I think I shared last time. So we had very competitive bids come in. We had a number, I think we had 10 companies actually participate in the initial RFP and then show up for a mandatory facility walkthrough. Of those 10 companies, 5 of them were in line structurally from a management, custodial standpoint and total cost year over year for 3 years. And so we proceeded to interview those 5 companies. And what came out of those 5 companies were really 2 companies came in on top, which was EnviroClean, the incumbent, and ABM Education Services, which I believe historically was GCA, who the district did partner with, I don't know, back in like 2010. They are both solid, comparable companies. ABM, at the end of the day, was actually more expensive. They would have increased our wages year over year, starting in 26, 27, and both from a custodial side and an operating side. They would have reduced our management down to 2 managers, which I think put some hesitation on us internally because we had started with 2 managers with EnviroClean, And through trial and error and understanding what the overall custodial team needed, they actually grew our management staff. Now, on the EnviroClean side, one of the things that led me to an RFP is we've been with them for 13 years. We have not done an RFP in 13 years. There were 5 manager slots on staff, and me coming into schools from outside, I'm like, that seems a little top-heavy. I wonder what everybody else is doing. And they did agree that we probably don't need 5 managers. They wanted to propose to slim it down to 4. But our district is open 7 days a week, and right now, every single building is open 7 days a week. And so from a need and a service standpoint, we really do need not only custodians in our buildings to ensure that they're clean and locked down at night, but those custodians need some management oversight to provide direction, and this is what you want to prioritize. It's just the name of the business. So with that, we are recommending to remain with EnviroClean to lock in a 3-year deal. It's more than just cost. And custodial services is not just cleaning. One thing that I want to highlight is it really is proven partnership and a willingness to improve. When we first started with EnviroClean, I think a few years in, as we were going through hoops and hurdles, the district was feeling it. They were complaining about our service from EnviroClean, and time again, EnviroClean came in, made changes, whether it was to staff or to the way they were providing service, to remedy the solution. Now our union rep joins our quarterly meetings with EnviroClean, and he is constantly giving praise that there aren't any large complaints in the district. I mean, I think our last meeting, there were no complaints. Everybody's pretty happy with the service EnviroClean is giving. And as an example, we had some floods in 1 or 2 of the schools this past weekend when we had the water shortage or shut off. And at 9 p.m. on a Sunday night, Mike called for assistance. I think it was at the middle school. We had 5 EnviroClean employees show up within 20 minutes of him making that call to clean the school, to do all the things necessary to get it ready for the kids to come in and have school the next day. And that proven partnership is something you can't put a value on. And so really happy with the recommendation, really happy with EnviroClean coming into this RFP process, willing to partner again and evaluate the district, where can we make changes so that it's cost effective for us, and looking forward to the future with them.
Thank you, Ms. Acluna. To Mr. Minka? Or not, well, do you want to go?
I'm good, yeah, I'm good.
Mr. Mishner?
Great presentation. The only question I have after hearing everything was, if the staffing and supervision, if we prefer the structure of EnviroClean actually over ABM, I'm just curious about the disconnect in the rating, why ABM was rated higher than EnviroClean in the overall ranking process.
They were rated equal to EnviroClean. Their rubric score both ended up at 95.
Yes, I'm talking about specifically in the staffing and supervision category, where
because
ABM got a 25 and EnviroClean got a 20.
Because in their proposal, ABM proposed actually bringing in 5 more custodians. It really wasn't about the management side. It was the flip side of the custodian side. So more boots on the ground, it would be more expensive for us overall. But in my mind, that's more people to do the actual work.
I see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mrs. Bodwine?
Thank you for all of that. That looks like that was quite a bit of work to get it all together. And then I do think that I've seen over the last several years huge increases in the service that we're getting. So I think this seems like a great recommendation. I did want to note, though, that on a couple of times when I've been in buildings on a weekend day, especially if there's like a larger scale event going on, I'm not sure it's been staffed quite as well as it could be. In particular, some of the things that, like at the middle school, I've seen there where there's maybe, one person trying to handle a large crowd of people using restrooms and making messes. So that would be something I would love for you to check in with them about and see if that can be adjusted at all. But other than that, I feel like I've had, considering like when I first was on the board, I was hearing from staff frequently about issues, and that was just, 2 and 3 years ago. I haven't had any of those issues brought to my attention. So I think things seem to be really improved. So thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Ms. Bodwine. Does anybody have any other comments or questions? I just want to thank you, Becca, for really you and Mike and the team and people who really dug deep into this. You know, I think it's easy to just say, yeah, that's not getting done, or let's go find someone else, but to really dig in and figure out, you know, where the problems are and what kind of solutions can be made to continue to have a relationship. I would imagine that staff and students in the buildings will appreciate having familiar faces, and that probably plays a role that you can't put a number on in your rubric, that, you know, that they've made relationships and that they're part of our community, just like our food services and things like that. So because they were willing to make adaptations and that the improvements have happened over the years, I will fully support this recommendation. Thank you. Okay, if anybody has any questions, though, specifically, you can certainly send them in, because this will not come for action until our next meeting, so we appreciate that. And we will move to our final information and discussion item, which is the Novi Community School District Stormwater Resolution, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Meinke.
Thank you. Every few years, the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, which is now known as EGLE, requires that our district have a stormwater plan. This is something that has to deals with making sure that we have an updated plan for how we're going to deal with the water that comes onto our impervious surfaces. Mr. Dragoo is here. He knows about this, and he's overseen multitudes of these in his time here in the district. This is a pretty routine resolution that gets updated every few years. It will not come back until the April board meeting, in which it'll be asked for you to approve it, and then we will submit the permit to the state for approval. So Mike is here if you have any questions about this, but it'll come back in April as well.
Thank you, Mr. Meinke. Do any board members have any specific questions for Mr. Dragoo? No? Okay. Thank you for your work, again, in understanding all of this and bringing it forward and getting it renewed as needed. So we appreciate you, Mike. Okay, we are going to move on to our action items. We have a list of action items this evening. We are going to start with our playground equipment purchase, ECEC, Parkview, and Novi Woods approval. I'll turn it over to Mr. Meinke.
Thank you so much. We are excited to start construction for the 2025 bond program. And as stated, we are going to be starting with our elementary school playgrounds. We are doing 2 playgrounds, really 3 playgrounds this summer, and then 3 playgrounds the following summer. This summer will be the Early Childhood Education Center, as well as Parkview and Novi Woods. There will be replacements to certain implements. There will also be resurfacing that allows for the rubber surface to be able to make all of our playgrounds accessible. At our last Capital Projects Committee meeting of the whole, we had a good, vibrant discussion around accessibility and how we can make sure that students with disabilities can access the equipment successfully, not just simply from getting onto the playground, but then also being able to get up into the structures themselves, while also balancing that with, you know, our students having appropriate challenge, like the Meadows Playground, at an age-appropriate way. Lance from Ventura is here tonight. We appreciate his work on really designing on a very quick, short timetable some additions to the program that will accommodate all of the requests from the Capital Projects Committee. And so this is here for your approval this evening so that we can get things started this summer. We have about $5.5 million scheduled for elementary playgrounds in our bond. This is about half of that. So this recommendation tonight is for the Novi Community School District to approve Ventura LLC for the total award of $2,459,743.36 for the playground improvements at the ECEC, Parkview, and Novi Woods.
Thank you, Mr. Meinke. If I can get a motion from board member?
I would be happy to make the motion, but is this coming out of the Capital projects, does that need to be included in the motion, Mr. Micah?
It can if
You
you'd
can
like to
say
add that,
Okay,
but it
great.
will be.
Then I will, just for fun.
Sure.
Okay, I move that the Novi Community School District Board of Education approves Ventura LLC for the total award amount of $2,459,743.36 to come out of our capital projects fund for the playground improvements to the ECEC, Parkview, and Novi Woods.
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Bodwine and supported by Mrs. Roney. Do we have any specific questions? Yeah, Mr. Micah?
One more comment that I'll make. I've had some conversations with several of you about this program, and I know that Mr. Cook had some concerns about accessibility, and I appreciate his championing that for our students with disabilities. One of the issues that we're faced with, of course, is timeline, and so I think this is a really good program. However, we have a lot more runway for the projects that will happen next summer, and so it will give us the opportunity, if there are adjustments that you'd like to make, Ventura can make those adjustments over the course of the next year in preparation for that program, including if there are additions to this plan that you'd like to see added. But we'll have time to work through that in our committee structure as we'll be able to get this completed this summer on schedule.
Thank you, Mr. Micah. Any questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Mishner.
Yeah, so it looks like some of the packet update information got updated a lot this week. I just wanted to be clear, and I drove by the playgrounds before this meeting just to kind of level set where they're at versus what the renderings were. Are we actually changing any of the major structures that are in place, or is it mostly just removing the wood chip surfaces that are under some of the playground areas and resurfacing so they're more accessible?
So Lance, I'll let you answer that. I know that there are several large structures that are being added to each of the playgrounds. More additions than subtractions, but we are also doing the rubber surfaces, but I'll let you add to that.
Sure, and thank you for having me here. I'm happy to answer any questions and help clarify. So as far as to address your question, if I may, we're doing a combination of surfacing was certainly a high priority, so that was part of the whole gamut. What we also did as an exercise is go through and evaluate existing equipment, made determinations on either lifespan or any code suspected issues to make updates to any of the aging equipment. We also did an exercise with the maintenance department as far as, what issues are we having with what types of equipment so that we can dispel those or certainly reduce or eliminate any of those concerns. Some of that ended up with some of the replacements into equipment that's easier to maintain and parts that are easier to get over time. So what you're going to see is improvements to every playground with some additions and some subtractions, to accommodate those. Not long, I'm trying to remember how many, is it now 3 or 4 years ago, we did a series of improvements at Parkview, Deerfield, Novi Woods, and that equipment that was addressed at that time, that is all remaining. Okay. So none of that, we're basically expanding on what was done at that time. So you'll see a little bit more cohesive playground out there, by getting rid of some of the aged equipment and updating it. You're certainly going to see a lot more inclusivity than what's out there now, just because things are different now. Attitudes towards how to design playgrounds are very different than they were 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. So you'll be real pleased with the additions and the amount of actual play value that's out there, which is what we really wanted to address. From our standpoint, it's really easy to have something that looks big, but what we want to make sure we address is what are the kids actually doing? Are they just running around it playing tag or hot lava because there's really nothing to engage them and stop them in decision making? Mm-hmm. So we put a lot more of that emphasis on the new equipment so that we're certainly engaging them a lot more than just having them run around it as an obstacle, so to speak.
Okay. So just a couple of follow-ups, if I may. To clarify, none of the equipment that's been installed in the last couple of years is being removed. It's the older stuff that maybe stayed on, we're now replacing. And specifically, because it's hard to tell from the rendering because they're out of context in terms of where they're like the surrounding and the renderings aren't matching the actual school.
That is-
So,
yeah.
just for context, is the playground at Woods that's down on the bottom of the hill, is that being updated at all? Or are we just staying with the fenced-in one for the younger students and the one immediately down the hill from that?
So the upper, or what we would call the lower elementary, that is getting totally redone. That's the higher one.
Okay.
And then down below, it would be the northern playground.
Okay, so
that is
that's the
getting
older,
so
more
it's
like-
the old equipment getting replaced to bring it up to date with the work that was previously done in the south portion.
So all the stuff that's like closer to the soccer field area?
Closer towards here.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's correct. I'm looking at the area right
The
here.
swings will be remaining there because they're still in good shape. But all that equipment in that northern portion is being replaced.
And you said the upper one is getting replaced? Isn't
The
that
upper one
new?
is also getting replaced. That's one of the oldest
Oh, that's still
structures
old?
that's out there.
Okay.
Actually, still in somewhat structurally good condition, but it was time for an update.
Okay.
Just to make sure that, with updates come full warranties, full extension of services and everything else too, so.
And then what is happening at the ECEC?
So ECEC is getting new surfacing across to what is existing there now. In a separate project, it just sort of turned out there's shade being added to that playground as well with
Oh, that's good.
with two shade canopies that are going in that space. We are addressing a upcoming need of having a toddler playground, which currently isn't out there right now. So that is being added to the north side of the building, still on that west end, and will, attach to that play area. And then on the south side, we're adding some swings to that location because that was an element that's lacking out there right now.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mishner. Anybody? Yeah, Mrs. Kleebert.
I just have two quick comments. I shared one with Chrisman that as we continue to refine these or finalize these, if there's a way to add shade to the elementary playgrounds in a way that staff can then be shaded, but also safely watch the children across the entire playground. I know that's always the most requested item from our staff to our PTOs. I know we don't have a ton of sun, but they have, they'll huddle against the 12 inches of shade that the building provides. So if there's a way to do that for our staff and even our students, that would be great. And then the second item is that because this is not a complete overhaul and we're kind of adding to existing equipment, I assume that the color scheme would be done in a way that's, that it all flows.
That's, if I may.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
One of the things and part of the exercise was to address that specifically. So what we are attempting to do is keep within the color scheme of the most recent additions. So at, say at Novi Woods, that southern playground area, the new area will match that same color scheme so it flows and doesn't look hodgepodge. Same with Parkview. We'll keep with the newest structure color scheme. At least that's what we're proposing right now. As far as the shade question, we do have a structure going into the Parkview South that will have some shade as part of it. I had already addressed that the preschool is getting some shade. And then there's, for Novi Woods, there's not as much shade being introduced at this point. There are trees in that area that do offer some shade. What is a difficult balance for us as far as trying to address some issues, because there are some issues that may be great requests, but don't necessarily follow logistics of how to actually facilitate monitoring the space. In some cases, there's hesitancy to provide an area, which then at times staff may potentially congregate there as opposed to going about the whole space and monitoring the whole space. So we try to balance that with the principals when we have discussions with what they want on their playground. So that discussion was had as well.
Mr. Mishner?
A follow-up that Treasurer Kilbert made me think of, Kleebert made me think of, is I wonder if the shade element can be addressed in a similar way that maybe at a public pool, lifeguard stand serve. It's a space that staff can be at that provide a good observational point, but also provide the clientele of the area a place they know they can go to get help. So if there was a shade station, the students would also know that's where I can go if I need assistance, whether it's like tie my shoe, I lost my ball, or, you know, I need some help because some of my other classmates aren't playing very well today. It may be dual purpose, so, and if it's an easy place to visually see from anywhere in the playground, it may also aid our younger students in a place like, this is where I can go to get help. I always know somebody's going to be there or around that proximity, and it seems like the staff would enjoy having a place where it's shady. So maybe it can be dual purpose and benefit both staff and students.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly something we could look into. Again, we have those discussions with the principals at the school and how they want to operate their playgrounds. But we can certainly entertain something like that, for sure.
Thanks, Mr. Mishner. Thank you. Mrs. Bodwine.
I have a couple of questions, but first, Mr. Manko, perhaps we could explore doing just like a regular shade umbrella in like a little umbrella stand and test run this and see if that makes sense before, you know, if we have staff asking for that to see functionally how that would work, because that we could probably try that for, you know, an inexpensive amount of money to see if the benefit for the staff would.
Yeah. I think,
Be
you know,
doable
Mr.
with-
Pinchura talked a little bit about it, and we definitely understand that there's a desire for those things. I think there's a couple pieces. We can do a full, deeper dive and look at the exhaustive nature of where it makes sense. I was talking with Treasurer Klebert a little bit about this as well, and we have the ability to add those pretty easily. It's essentially sinking a pole and, you know, putting the shade structure in place. We do have them at Novi Meadows, which is great. In the discussions with a lot of our elementary principals, what Mr. Pinchura is describing is a reality. And so we want our neonates and our people who are supervising to be out with the children as opposed to congregated together in a really great social spot, but not necessarily doing the supervision work. So, and our neonates are great, so that's not a thing that they're doing currently, but we certainly want to make sure that we're continuing to promote the ability for them to move around. So maybe there is a way to look at this a little deeper. I think we'll take it back to the team and
Yeah, that might be
do a
worth
deeper dive.
exploring, like separate from playground equipment purchases at this point.
Sure.
And then my question for you, on, let me see here, Parkview Middle, I think. Okay, so on that one, it looks like there's quite a few like smaller little things. There's like a little spinny thing and a climby thing and different small things like that. They seem pretty spread out, but I can't tell if that's just like the rendering or like, do you feel like we're utilizing the space pretty thoroughly there, or is there, like, especially when we talk about possibly making changes or additions next year if that's needed? I just wanted to make sure you have things in a way that we could add to if needed.
There's usually always a way to add as long as there's safe, we have to address safety zones. And I'm not sure what drawings you have available in front of you, but there's usually like a dotted line around the equipment. Those are safety zones that we have to acknowledge as far as code compliance.
Okay, I was wondering if that's what those were.
Yeah,
So that has to be that far apart for those?
There are some situations where we can overlap a little. There are others that we can't. It's all specific to the type of equipment. The other thing with the middle playground is there are a couple trees in there that are currently intending to remain, to provide shade. You know, there was some talk when we were going through the design process to maybe remove them, but then at the same time, you know, we do hear a desire for shade, so it's kind of like, let's keep them in for now, and see if we can work around them, which is what the design shows there. The other thing we always want to be somewhat cognizant of is if you really pack a playground tight, it's not all about the equipment sometimes. The kids run around the playground as well, chase each other, play different games. So we still want to make sure we have appropriate circulation around there as well, so.
Thank you.
And so that playground is intended to become a heavier primary use for lunch recess, which is why we put a little bit more attention into that playground. just because of the functionality that the principal was asking for and where the kids are in the building related to different times and things like that.
And that's the middle?
There's 3 playgrounds there.
Yeah.
There's the north playground, which is a smaller area that some of the special needs children use
Okay.
during the day. The middle playground is essentially, we're heavily expanding that use area compared to what it is today. And then there's the south, the larger sort of half-circle playground.
Okay, but the middle one
Mhm.
is going to be more utilized? in the-
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. And that was a function of functionality with where the classrooms are in the building.
Mhm.
So we could cut down a little bit on the walk time to get to a playground for
Means
some
more
of these
time to
kids.
play. Great. Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pinchero. We appreciate you. Seeing no other questions, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. We will move on to our next action item, which is the Novi Community School District 2026 School Building and Site Series 1 and Refunding Bonds Ratification Resolution. Mr. Meinke.
Thank you. At a previous board meeting, we approved the district to go out and sell our first series of bonds. We did that. We were able to secure, as Ms. Cicluna said, a great credit rating, and we also received favorable rates and able to sell all of the Phase 1 bonds. So this is just simply to ratify our legal document that allows us to proceed with depositing the funds into our accounts. So the Novi Community School District Board is recommended to approve the ratification of the 2026 School Building and Site Series 1 refunding bonds resolution in the sum of not more than $53,850,000.
Thank you, Mr. Meinke. If I can get a motion? Mrs. Bodwine?
Sure.
Very confusing here tonight, ladies.
Didn't
Go
seem
ahead.
like anyone
Yeah, yeah.
was too excited to do it. Okay, I move that the Novi Community School District Board of Education approves the ratification of the NCSD 2026 School Building and Site Bonds Series 1 and refunding bonds resolution in the principal sum of not more than $53,850,000 for the purpose of funding a portion of the bond project as presented.
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Bodwine and supported by Mrs. Kleberg. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. We'll move on to our next action item, which is the Novi Community School District E-rate network electronics approval. Mr. Meinke?
Thank you. At last month's meeting, Mr. Smith came to present on our first E-rate project of the spring, which is our UPS system. It's recommended that the Novi Community School District Board approve the purchase from Delta Networking Services for the E-rate network electronics UPS for $176,550.16.
Thank you, Mr. Meinke. If I can get a motion? Mrs. Kleber?
Motion that the Novi Community School District Board of Ed, in the best interests of the Novi Community School District, approves Delta Networking Services for the E-rate network electronics for $176,550.16.
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Kleber and supported by Mr. Mena. Does anybody have any additional questions for Mr. Smith? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. We'll move on to our second E-rate resolution. It's the structured cabling fiber approval.
Thank you. This again was presented at last month's board meeting. This is to do our structured cabling, our fiber optics. And so it is recommended that the board approve the Complete Interactive Technologies Incorporated for E-rate structured cabling fiber for $104,087.40.
Can I get a motion? Mrs. Roney?
That the Novi Community School District Board of Ed, in the best interest of the Novi Community School District, approves Complete Interactive Technologies Incorporated for the E-rate structural cabling fiber for the amount of $87.40.
Thank you. Recommended by Mrs. Roney and supported by Mrs. Klebert. Any questions or comments? Okay, Mr. Mishner?
One comment, since we're at the end of the series of E-rate approvals, I'm curious, would it be beneficial if we also added in the E-rate firewall that we discussed earlier tonight, since there was such a vigorous discussion and debate on that topic?
How do you feel about that, Mr. Smith?
Works with me.
Is there any benefit to doing
No.
it sooner than?
No, there's no benefit right now. Currently speaking, it actually be nice for me, but currently speaking, we might want to wait until April for it, as Oakland Schools is still trying to get all the details ironed out of it. So I'd hate to have you guys do approval on that now, when it's not all ironed out by Oakland Schools yet.
Okay,
So
thank you.
be on the safe side.
Thank you for
I do
that.
appreciate it, though. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mishner, for asking the question and getting the information. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. All righty, we will move on to our Oakland County Regional Enhancement Millage Resolution, and I will turn it over to Mr. Micah.
Thank you. At our last board meeting, I presented the Oakland County Regional Enhancement Millage. This is a 1.5 mil millage that would be levied for all Oakland County residents that would last for 6 years. The revenue from this fund would go to directly impact district operations. The Novi Community School District would directly benefit nearly $5 million annually into our operational fund. We've talked about how this can provide flexible spending for schools. The resolution is not about supporting or not supporting this particular initiative. It's really about allowing the voters in the community to vote on the issue. And so the recommendation is that the Board of Education approve the Oakland County Enhancement Millage Resolution as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Micah. If we can get a motion? Mrs. Roney?
That the Novi Community School District Board of Education approve the Oakland County Enhancement Millage Resolution as presented, to place the question on the ballot and allow voters to vote on this issue.
Do we have support?
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Roney and supported by Mrs. Bodwine. Do we have any specific questions or comments? I know we talked about this in depth last time. We had a report on it. Okay. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. We will move on to our Novi Community School District Budget Amendment A2 approval. Mr. Micah?
Thank you. You heard the report earlier tonight, and so it is our recommendation that the board adopt the 2025-26 second budget amendment resolution as presented.
Thank you. If I can get a motion? Mr. Mena?
Yeah, I move that the board adopt the 2025-2026 second budget amendment resolution as presented.
Second.
Recommended by Mr. Mena and supported by Mr. Mishner. Any additional questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. We will move on to the NEA and NASA Early Retirement Incentive approval.
Thank you. So about every 6 to 8 years, the Novi Community School District has engaged in the possibility of an early retirement incentive. A couple months ago, the NEA, the Novi Education Association, did approach us and asked if there was any appetite to consider the possibility of an early retirement incentive. The district did do a financial analysis in collaboration and partnership with the NEA. Really appreciate Dr. Carino's work in crafting language, a lot of time, energy, and hours in really thinking about the process. I appreciate the support that Ms. Cicluna gave to do financial analysis, and also our partnership with not only Matt Burry but the NEA in terms of being able to craft something that would help the district financially, but also support our educators that are looking to end their careers this year. And so the early retirement incentive is a program for eligible members, which are going to be members who are at the top pay level on our pay scale. It is also going to be something that will provide them a $30,000 buyout over 3 years. It's $10,000 each year, as in distributed through a 403B payment system. This program has multiple steps that if the board approves, Dr. Carino's office will execute a series of those instructions and plans over the next 24 hours to notify the members at the NEA and NASA, and they will have 45 days timeline from when those documents are presented to allow them to make a decision on this. And so it is our recommendation that the Novi School District Board of Education approve the NEA and NASA early retirement incentives as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Micah. If I can get a motion? Mrs. Roney?
The Novi Community School District Board of Education approved the NEA, the NASA early retirement incentives as presented.
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Roney and supported by Mrs. Kleber. Do we have any specific questions regarding this? Yes, Mr. Mishner?
I just wanted to confirm, teachers that have elected to retire in the recent past would also be eligible for this, correct?
Correct.
Past today?
That have chosen to retire this June. So it's not just recent past, but they're choosing to retire by June 30th of this year.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mishner. Mrs. Kleber?
I just have a comment. I would always support our ability to give our educators something more, whether it be monetary or support, and especially since this was at their request. I do, on the flip side, it makes me very sad to see or potentially see the number of amazing long-term educators that we have in our district that are going to potentially be leaving us. So I'm happy to support this, but it does make me sad to see some amazing people retire.
Yep.
Well-deserved retirement, but.
Agreed.
If we could keep them forever, that would be amazing, right?
Maybe they'll come back and sub. Be like, do you miss the babies? Come see your babies.
Be a bus driver.
Ooh, bus drivers.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. I just want to also reiterate thank you to Dr. Carino and to Ms. Cicluna and also to the NEA and NASA. I know a lot of work was put into this, and I do appreciate that they came to us with, the desires of their members to see what kind of bargaining and collaborative efforts could happen on their behalf. So, all right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 6-0. We will move on to our final action item, which is our regular board meeting schedule adjustment approval. And I will turn it over to Mr. Micah.
Thank you. So as we spoke earlier about the budget, we understand that the state sometimes does not do the budget in the manner that is super timely. And so we're hoping that this year, because it's an election year, that they will actually try to get the budget completed on time. And so with that in mind, as well as the fact that you've just approved the early retirement incentive, we know that this spring is going to be very busy from both a hiring perspective as well as a finance perspective as we're trying to figure out what exactly the dollars and cents are. We predict that this will likely be the case next year as well, not necessarily from the hiring lens, but the third week of June, we really feel like we only need one board meeting in June, but giving us that extra week to be able to get those tasks completed will be very, very helpful. So this is really asking the board to move the June 26 and June 27 board meetings back 1 week to June 25th, 2026 and June 24th, 2027. And that is there for your recommended approval tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Micah. If I can get a motion? Mrs. Kleber?
Recommend that the Novi Community School District Board of Ed approve adjusting the regular board meetings as presented.
Thank you. Do we have support?
Support.
Was that Mr. Mena? Okay. Recommended by Mrs. Kleber and supported by Mr. Mena. Any comments, questions in this regard? Mrs. Bodwine?
So this will push that further into summer. And so just thought perhaps we want to do like a
quick chat to make sure people will be in town.
I'll
I'm
actually
not-
be back.
I'm not much of a traveler, but some of my fellow trustees do like to vacation, so just making sure enough of you are here, we'll have a quorum.
I think 4 out of 7 is probably highly likely.
Okay, good.
I'll be here.
Fantastic.
All righty. Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. We're going to move on to our committee reports. We have 2 committee reports this evening. We had the 2026 Joint DEI Curriculum Committee of the Whole. I will report on that. We reviewed, with the help of Mr. Germini and Laura Bidlack, the iReady data from winter, and we had a lot of robust discussions regarding that, and we look forward to seeing the next set of data in the spring. So we appreciate you and all the efforts that you put into making sure we can really dig deep and figure out how to best support our children. We also reviewed the district DEI report. They had just had a meeting earlier that week, or I think the prior week, and reviewed kind of the ins and outs of what the district representatives are doing in that space. So that was very appreciated as well. We're going to move to the March 5th Capital Projects Committee of the Whole meeting, and I'll turn it over to Mrs. Roney for a quick update.
Most of the information you saw in their report about the playgrounds. We did have a discussion, as Mr. Micah said, about the play structures, and some different stuff was taken into account. And they said today that, you know, the ones next year, we can do a little bit more further design, which we look forward to. Other than that, everything was great, and we're continuing on.
Thank you. We will move on to the superintendent's report. Mr. Micah?
Thank you. March is reading month, and so we have a lot of books being combed through this month. We have students that are reading, just demonstrating their love of reading and talking about what they're reading. I'm excited next week I get to in multiple classrooms and read to our students, and I know a lot of our administrative staff and community members have been doing that as well. Next week on Tuesday from 10 to 11:30 in the morning, I have my coffee with the superintendent. Our topic is transportation. I'm excited to have my guest, Miss Carrie Russell, our Director of Transportation, talking about kind of her first year in the role, and it's gone very well from my perspective, but I'm interested to hear some of the things that are opportunities and challenges that face us over the next year. Also on Tuesday at 4 p.m., I know many of you have been invited. We have our Novi Chopped competition, which is our second year of doing that. That's going to be at the high school, where our students are going to engage in a cooking competition sponsored by Chartwells. And then also next week, we have the end of our time before we hit spring break, and we wish everybody a wonderful time, spring break, which is March 30th through April 3rd. And the last thing I'd like to just quickly say is that I had the opportunity to do my latest podcast edition, Courageous Curiosity, which will come out on Tuesday, and I had the opportunity to interview Mr. Dragoo, as well as Jason Greaves, one of our senior maintenance technicians. And you know, when the community had the water issue, I appreciate Mr. Mishner and other trustees on the board that reached out and said, hey, if there's anything we can do to help, please extend that offer. We weren't really sure what that looked like. The city has been a really great partner. We were communicating the whole time, and really, really kind of cool that Mike on Saturday spent almost 8 hours, or over 8 hours, supporting hundreds and hundreds of people at Village Oaks that came in, and we're just so thankful and appreciative. So we have people in our district that are really, really special and spectacular. Mike and Jason are no exception to that. They're examples of that. And so just really grateful for their selflessness and their willingness to give up their weekend to support our community in that way. And we really are lucky to have incredible people in an incredible community. So thank you all for your support. Hope you all have a great spring break, and we will see you when we return in April.
Thank you, Mr. Micah. We will move to administrative reports. I will turn it over to Ms. Cicluna.
Thank you. I think you guys already know that I've had a lot going on, but on the finance side, one of the items that popped up in the audit for the 24-25 year was that our fixed assets were still being managed in an Excel file that was quite messy. And it had been that way for years, and it continued to be a problem every audit through those years. So one of our goals was to get that uploaded into our system and basically automate the allocation of fixed assets, the calculation, to then clear that issue for the audit in the 25-26 year. We have all of the data ready to upload. We are doing some last-minute cross-checks to make sure that all of the data aligns with the initial final audited file from the 24-25 year, but I am excited to announce that that will be taken care of, and you guys won't be hearing about that in this year's audit. And then also on the food service side, I just wanted to give you guys an update. So because we carry an excess fund balance, we are required to submit a spend down plan to the state. Based on the budget and the Fed shutdown, we did not submit a spend down plan for 25-26 because it was not required at that time. The MDE has come back to us and asked us to submit a new spend down plan. So we are in process of working on that, but we are additionally buying equipment for different buildings. I think last board meeting, you guys approved a large purchase for the high school. The next board meeting in April, we'll be bringing for info and discussion a purchase for the middle school. All of that stuff is going to tie into the spend down plan that we'll ultimately also bring to the board.
Thank you. Are you afraid to push that button to have all the data moved over to the new?
No, I'm excited.
Oh, okay, good. Sounds scary. All right, Dr. Carino.
Thank you. We have begun the hiring process as we look ahead to 26-27, obviously with a very lengthy report tonight and what we expect to be a lengthy report in April. We are holding a local job fair on April 30th here in the district, as well as a special education specific fair for May 7th, also in the district. So we are looking forward to meeting some new candidates and welcoming hopefully new educators that will spend their careers here. We were able to meet our Educators of the Year here this evening. We are in the process of selecting our Outstanding Support Person of the Year, and we were excited to announce who that is in the coming month after spring break, and so we will invite that person to our April board meeting. We recently participated in the Taste of Spring fundraising event organized by Hospitality House. As you may know, we partner with Hospitality House. They provide a meal service for our students, a take-home food program. And so this was a great way for our organizers and volunteers of that program to be able to enjoy an evening together. And we really just appreciate our partnership with the Hospitality House and wanted to support them. We also have another community partner, Novi Youth Assistance. They are going to be having an ice skating fundraiser at the Novi Ice Arena on April 12th. And so we just wanted to promote that since they have done so much to help our district. We also will be promoting a mental health series for high achievers and how to support them on April 8th. We are in the middle of NEA negotiations, and so we had our first session, I believe, last week or the week before. They're all kind of blending together at this point, and we have our next session tomorrow. We will update you in closed session about how that is going, but publicly for everyone, we had a great first session, and we're looking forward to some more additional collaborative dialogue tomorrow. One of the topics that we started discussing was the school calendar. As the public may or may not know, the calendar is a negotiated item with the NEA, and so we are working together to be able to finalize those details and hopefully share that with our staff and families very soon. Tomorrow in building newsletters, there will be a family survey about our calendar to just solicit feedback from our community about what priorities are important to them in the school calendar. Our students are undergoing the Panorama Student Perception Survey right now, so we will be able to get that data after spring break. Our staff and families will also complete surveys after we get back from break to obtain information from them. And we just wrapped up our 45-day Winter Wellness Staff Challenge. We had 241 staff participants who walked over 41,322 miles. And so people were really stepping. The highest average steps, the buildings were Roar, followed by Novi Middle School and Village Oaks. So it was a great way to just some increased camaraderie over the district and get people moving and focused on wellness. And I think that's about it. So I hope everybody has a great spring break, a well-deserved time off with their families and friends, and whether they stay here or go far away, we just want to give them some time to take a deep breath and hit the rest of the year strong. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carino. That's a lot happening, and I'm sure it's just going to keep ramping up for the rest of the year. So we appreciate you and your team's hard work all the time. Mr. Jeremini?
Thank you. We wrapped up our district professional development days on Monday, wrapped them up for this school year. I want to extend my thanks to the teaching and learning department leadership, our instructional coaches, our school staff, our external staff and partners who helped facilitate literally hundreds and hundreds of learning sessions for our staff this school year. And now on Monday, we start planning for next school year, so it doesn't stop. Our curriculum review process for 5th through 12th grade English Language Arts is coming to a close, and I am looking forward to bringing you a recommendation in April for what direction we might head next school year. Next Tuesday, members of our K-12 math standards team, that's the group of teachers and administrators kind of driving our curriculum process for mathematics. We will be visiting a few districts in the county actually to see a curriculum resource in action, just to have a different perspective from listening to what's available in terms of the print materials and digital materials, but actually seeing some experienced teachers teach with it. That'll just be a step to kind of help us with what direction we might go for math in that pilot process. And then after spring break, we begin our state assessment season. It is a busy season. Our students in grades 3 through 11 will engage in all of the mandatory assessment programs from the state, including MSTEP, PSAT, SAT, and the new WIN assessment, a workplace readiness assessment. We're going to use data from these assessments as just one indicator of how we're doing in terms of performance and growth. I'm confident it will look great. And we will present that data when it becomes publicly available in the fall at a board meeting.
Thank you. Thank you for the report, and thank you for the update. We look forward to seeing the information that you collect. Okay, we are going to move on to board communication. I'll go first since Mr. Mike already gave my entire report. I was just going to wish everyone a safe and enjoyable spring break. I'm looking forward to spring sports starting and getting outside and getting my steps in, but enjoying seeing the student athletes participating in the different sports that are happening. Looking forward to hopefully attending the musical if I'm able. And I am not able to attend the Chopped event, so I'm very jealous of whoever's sitting at this table and gets to eat the delicious food that our students are going to cook up for you. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic, and I look forward to hearing who the big champion is this year. So any other board communication? Mr. Mishner?
Yeah, I just wanted to report on the excellent job the Novi Middle School PTO did serving over 2,000 students hot chocolate over the course of 4 mornings. They were there bright and early as 7 o'clock in the morning to start boiling water for the hot chocolate and serving 500 students in the small period of 8:20, which is about 20 minutes, and getting it all through efficiently. We had minimal to zero spills. Everybody was very happy. They were even able to get marshmallows and whipped cream. And the very first day, our community partner, Sweetwater's, actually provided the hot chocolate gratis to the students. So it was a really, really good, fun way for the students to start the day. And hats off to the PTO for all their hours early in the morning to make that happen, as well as the school administrators and their support. The other thing I wanted to point out is the Unified Middle School basketball team wrapped up their season this past Tuesday, so just 2 days ago. And for anybody who's never been to a Unified sports game, if you think that you won't get the suspense and the drama and the emotional highs and lows that you might get at some of our other athletic events, you would be sorely mistaken. The last game against Frost delivered all of that and more. There was clutch three-pointers. There was last-minute shots at the buzzer. There was even some slam dunks. We had it all at that game, and it is so great to come and see our students playing and participating and really enjoying Novi athletics. So if you've never come to a unified an athletics game, either at the middle school, high school level, or other venue, I would strongly encourage you to make at least one of the events this upcoming spring season, because they are absolutely thrilling and really rewarding to watch. And then lastly, I just wanted to again echo Superintendent Micah's comments about Mr. Dragoo being able to work and get that building open to provide water for our Novi residents. It's really amazing to see Novi Community School District really being able to serve our community. And I'm always deeply grateful to our staff and our administrators anytime we can use our district and our facilities and our assets to benefit the community. And so just really deeply grateful for Superintendent Micah and all the staff that were able to move in matter of hours to open up that facility and keep it open, even extend it past the hours we posted, we could keep it open for, just to make sure everybody had access to a basic need like water in a time of crisis for the community. So really, really grateful for that.
Thank you, Mr. Mishner. Mr. Mena.
Yeah, I had the opportunity of going up to Traverse City this past weekend to attend the Michigan Association of Athletic Administrators Conference. It's one that they have up there once a year. I always like going to see what the latest and greatest is in high school athletic technology, because there's usually a lot of vendors up there. I did take the time to attend at least one of the breakout sessions, which was actually run by our athletic department. It was one on effectively running an athletic office with trust, so that was pretty interesting. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Got to bring back some ideas on some potential technology improvements that we have available to us, and I hope to bring that forward to both our athletic department and our IT group. So.
Fantastic. And they're going to stop letting you go up north, because I feel like every time you go up for something, whether it be personal or professional, there's like a humongous snowstorm or ice storm or something happens. It's like a whole, I'm not sure what's happening.
Yeah, I was lucky actually, because I went up on Thursday and came back on Saturday, so I kind of
missed it.
was able to navigate around the storms both ways.
Yeah, I heard it was quite the storm. Okay, any other Board of Communication? Mrs. Bodwine.
So first, I just wanted to thank everyone who put together the Green Gala for all of their hard work. It was a very successful event, and I had a great time. We all dressed up in 80s clothes, and it was very silly. Mr. Micah had an excellent video in a Metallica t-shirt. And were you on roller skates or
Rollerblades, yeah.
Rollerblades, okay,
Oh,
yes.
my gosh.
And it was just very fun. So if you all missed that, I'm sorry, but it was quite hilarious, and there were even some bloopers from that, which I found to be just delightful. So I haven't heard yet how the fundraising went, but the event itself seemed to be really successful, so I'm excited to hear that, and thank the NEF for all of their hard work and support. Second, the Novi Middle School has the Drowsy Chaperone play tomorrow night. If you're able to get over there and see it, from what I have heard, it's going to be a fantastic show. I think the middle school has done just an exceptional job with Mr. Green there the last few years, and it's been just really very entertaining productions that they're doing, so it's fantastic to see, and I will be there, and hopefully some of you will be there as well. And then April 17th, 18th, and 19th is when Legally Blonde is. Get your tickets and enjoy the shows. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Roney?
Last night, Paul and I went to the Oakland County School Board Association dinner meeting, and it was on AI. Justin Bruno presented, it was a hands-on, so he had us go online, do this, do this, do this, and you could see how you ask a question, how much data you get back, whether it's, it gets more what you want, as opposed to if you just say, tell me about, the school, Public Act, this number, and when you go deeper in, of course it does. So that was really interesting. And then the next thing I have to say is the board should all keep our June 17th open. That is the award banquet that we will get our board award.
Thank you, Mrs. Roney.
You're welcome.
Okay. We have one more thing. I've folded up my paper as if we're all done, but not quite yet. So we have a closed session, and if I could get a motion, and then I have asked Mr. Mishner to step in for Mr. Cook to do a roll call for us. So if I can get a motion? Mr. Mishner.
I move that the Novi Community School District Board of Education move into closed session for the purpose of engaging in negotiations as permitted under Section 81C of the Open Meetings Act.
Do we have support? Support. Recommended by Mr. Mishner and supported by Mrs. Bodwine. Mr. Mishner, if I can get a roll call vote, please?
Vice President Bodwine.
Yes.
Vice President Bodwine is yes. Treasurer Kleebert.
Yes.
I'm going to get it right. Treasurer Kleebert, yes. Trustee Mena.
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Mitchner, yes. Trustee Roney.
Yes.
Trustee Roney is yes. And President Ruskin.
Yes.
President Ruskin, yes. That's 6 yeses and 0 noes, President Ruskin.
Thank you. We are going to move into closed session, and just so anybody who is watching knows, we will not be taking any action when we come out of closed session. We will just be coming out for adjournment. So thank you for being here with us tonight.
Thank you, Jesse, for being with us tonight. We go into a private room.